on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey.
From the Matrix Home Solutions studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560 The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer
Merry Christmas.
on AM 560.
Ho, ho, ho.
The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. The topic of junk science in 2021. Boy, on COVID alone, that would require weeks of shows, but let's try to condense some of it and also get beyond COVID to some other medical news that is equally important depending on what condition you have or what condition you're trying to prevent getting or what condition you may have and you're looking for treatments. To help us do that, we're pleased to be joined again by Stephen Ross Pomeroy, the editor of RealClearScience.com. Thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Hi, Dan. Hey, Amy. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Thank you for having me on.
Good to have you back. So we have to, if you talk about science and junk science in 2021, you have to start with all things under the COVID umbrella. So give us some examples. I know you've written on the topic of what you think some of the more egregious examples of practicing or promoting junk science in the COVID space were in the past year.
Well, I think we could start with more lighthearted ones. As a Vikings and Bears fans, at least I'm a Vikings fan, a lot of Bears fans in the audience. I'm sure we were all interested to see Aaron Rodgers say he was, quote, immunized against COVID, but actually he lied about it and was not. It turned out he was immunized with homeopathy, which is actually just a complete kind of magical pseudoscience. You put something in substance in water, then dilute it down millions of times, and supposedly it's effective, but it's really not. So that was a strange thing, at least from a Vikings perspective, because we have our quarterback Kirk Cousins, who was unvaccinated, and he's just open about it. And if he's going to be open about it, that's fine with me.
Yeah, right. I mean, Rodgers could have been more open about it, although the hysterics over it from the press corps mitigate that somewhat. I mean, look at the hysterics over Kyrie Irving, and now he's about the only Brooklyn Net who's eligible to play or who's not under COVID protocol at present. So
that is true. Yeah, they're calling him in from the reserves. It seems like, yeah.
Yeah, and interesting. I saw this the other day. There are more. 97% of the NBA is vaccinated, and there are more NBA players on COVID protocol this year than last year. So we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot about the vaccines and transmission and infection over the last year or two that run afoul of what we were told with the sales pitch of vaccines at the end of last year.
Yeah, I think it was unfortunate the way they were pitched. I mean, these vaccines are extremely effective at reducing hospitalization, reducing severe disease and deaths, but I think they were really oversold on their ability to prevent infection entirely. And I actually wrote an article earlier this year, a few months ago, that pretty much everybody, regardless of your vaccination status, should expect to be infected by this virus one day. It's just going to happen.
Right.
Well, they paid people to take the vaccine. They gave kids little capes that said Vax Hero to wear if they got vaccinated. I mean, never in my lifetime did I ever think that you'd see the government go to such great lengths to convince people to get vaccinated. And for what? I mean, more than half the people that died in Illinois yesterday were fully vaccinated. But old people die, but people forget about that. I mean, every day in Illinois, 300 people die. And when COVID hit, the same, it was still 300 people. But it's hard convincing people that maybe they've been fooled for the past 2 years. What do you think?
I do think, yes, the vaccines were oversold on in terms of their ability. I think people were saying, you're just not going to get it if you get the vaccine. And that's just simply not how vaccines work generally. Like, there's a few very successful ones, like the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine that will basically prevent you from getting measles. But this kind of virus, that's just simply not how it's going to work. The vaccines are extremely effective at preventing hospitalization and death, which is frankly, I think the biggest reason why people should be getting the vaccine.
Well, yeah, that's all well and good. The additional problem beyond that is beyond the overselling it is making public policy based on it, because it was public policy locking down schools and so forth that was predicated on a belief, whether innocent or not, that you could eliminate COVID and we could get to zero COVID, because we went to measuring cases as the basis to allow open or mandate closure. And a lot of people were saying from the beginning, you slow the spread of a virus, as you were just suggesting. You don't stop the spread. This was about slowing to make sure the hospital system, the healthcare system wasn't overwhelmed. And then somehow, as along the way, it got transformed into stopping or eliminating it altogether. And that was never going to happen. So the policies predicated on that should have never happened either.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I like how you brought up the schools there, and I didn't include that in my junk science COVID list. But I think now that we do have a lot more evidence a lot of public health officials, pediatricians, are looking at some data that we had in terms of school closures last year, and that they really, the way the data is looking now, that really was the wrong move. Mm-hmm. Kids really are at a very low risk of any sort of serious effects of COVID, but the effects of keeping them out of school and preventing that sort of socialization and all the education, and also a lot of stress on parents. That probably, the evidence now is saying that really wasn't worth that trade-off.
What about this, that bogus magnets that were sold to protect people from their phones?
Oh, do you want to move on to non-COVID?
Yeah, we can move on to non-COVID
now?
Because this caught my eye.
Yeah, we also could probably get down the ropes of the COVID junk science for a long time if we stayed on it.
All right, so what about those magnets?
Yes, so thanks to wireless technology, cell phones, non-ionizing electromagnetic radiation is everywhere. That sounds scary, but pretty much every single bit of research that we have suggests really no harm from it. But however, there's a lot of great scams out there, and I say great because it's just great at making money, because these companies are selling these little magnets, these stickers you can stick on the back of your phone or other wireless device, and it says it'll block all of the harmless radiation coming from your phone. It's $40 for a pack of 5. Scientists have looked at them. They do nothing, but it's a great way for people to scam people out of their money.
The one I liked in sort of the non-COVID space of consumer products and trying to explain other phenomena, the return of UFOs. Tucker, this is what you wrote is going to be very upsetting to Tucker Carlson and others, but I'm in your camp on this. I'm very much a skeptic, but we were supposed to be the return of UFOs, government releasing all this report, they're hiding aliens, area, whatever that area 51. Is out in, what's that?
Area 51.
Area 51 and all that jazz. There were supposed to be some real revelations here. And what's your distillation of the evidence that was presented?
It's pretty simple. You can look at they have a lot of, interesting little videos where you can look at a lot of little dots flying around on the screen. But really, it's the same stuff we've seen forever. If you see like a Bigfoot or see any other weird, UFO, they're actually calling them unidentified aerial phenomena now, changing the, rebranding a bit. They're just blurs. They're dots. These things, when you really look at these phenomena that are captured on video, they usually end up being birds or just camera artifacts. The evidence is the same as it always has, and always has been. I think the most interesting thing, the most telling thing is, we have cell phones and cameras everywhere now, but we still have not got a good shot of these aliens. I mean, it's just highly unlikely they're out there, at least on Earth. I'm hoping, and I think it's probably likely there's some intelligent life out there somewhere in the universe.
Yeah, there's less and less on Earth, that's for sure. I learned about this from the Brady Bunch, so that's what started my skepticism. I knew when Bobby and Peter got scammed camping out in the backyard that it wasn't real. That you probably don't even get you probably don't even get. You're too young to get the reference, aren't you?
Yes. I actually just turned 34 2 days ago.
Forget you.
All right. Well, what about this? The new co-host of Jeopardy selling brain health snake oil.
Don't say it's Ken Jennings.
Yeah, so that's
no, it's not Ken Jennings.
That's Mayim Bialik. And yes, so she was on the Big Bang Theory for a while, played a scientist on that show, but actually is a scientist herself. She has a PhD in neuroscience. But unfortunately, she's been on TV pretty much all year, all the news channels, just selling a supplement called Muriva, which she says it's backed by real science, vetted by a real scientist, me, she says with excitement. But the studies that are conducted on the two ingredients that make up it are really unconvincing. They're uncontrolled, really small effects, and it's pretty telling the manufacturer of that supplement has not even studied their own supplement, because if they do, they know it's not going to be effective. And in general, most of these supplements that you hear sold on TV, radio, or all over the place, they're not effective.
That would be that should be disqualifying for her to co-host Jeopardy. Then, if that, I mean, what she's got to hold a certain standard of integrity.
In that whole race, I was they were doing the race for voting for the Jeopardy new host. I was rooting for LeVar Burton myself, and for the Star Trek fans out there, that's Geordie LaForge from the Next Generation.
Right. Yes. Very good. This is a serious one, because I read articles about this drug, and it's serious because of the disease that it claims to treat. This Biogen drug, Aduhelm, that's supposed to help Alzheimer patients. You put this as the FDA approval of this as the biggest junk science scam of 2021. Tell us about that.
Yes, so Aduhelm is Biogen's new drug against Alzheimer's, designed to target the plaques that build up in the brain in people with Alzheimer's. And unfortunately, that's been the prevailing theory for a long time, but a lot of research now has been done, and we find that even if you eliminate these plaques, it actually, unfortunately, doesn't treat the disease itself. And this is what that drug is designed to do. So it does eliminate or significantly reduce the plaques in patients' brains. However, it doesn't affect their condition at all. No change in the actual clinical effects of the Alzheimer's. And so the FDA's own science panel reviewed the evidence for the drug, saw that it really doesn't do anything, and they correctly, almost unanimously voted against it. Nevertheless, and there's been some limited reporting done on this, the FDA decided to go ahead and approve it anyway. And pretty much universally in the pharmaceutical science industry and among science journalists, this was viewed as a terrible decision. And nevertheless, the drug is now on the market. Until today, actually, it was being sold at $56,000 per year. Wow. Biogen actually just slashed that cost by half because it just wasn't getting prescribed. But nevertheless, earlier this year, Medicare announced that they would have the largest percent increase for Medicare Part B ever, just to cover the potential cost of this drug. Bottom line is, it's an ineffective drug that's being sold for tens of thousands of dollars a year, and it's going to drive up medical costs for everybody.
Sounds like boosters for kids over at the FDA, minus the price tag. What's going on at the FDA? Why would they move this drug if it doesn't produce what it purports to produce in terms of results?
Who's it helping?
Earlier on, people were talking about that they just wanted to give Alzheimer's patients a chance at anything, at hope, just on the off chance it might have any effect. I think that's a terrible rationale myself, but that was the decision. I mean, especially at a cost of, I think it's down to $28,000 per year. That's a massive cost for a drug that, again, all the evidence suggests is not going to do anything to help Alzheimer's patients. I think it's just selling false hope, and it's the windfall for Biogen. I honestly don't know what they're thinking at the FDA.
We've had made that statement a number of times over the last couple of years. Stephen Ross Pomeroy, editor, RealClearScience.com. Stephen Ross Pomeroy, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Dan, Amy, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
Next time you're in the office, look around and see the paper accumulating and the filing cabinets taking up space waiting to be filled. You want the paper gone, but dread the time-consuming scanning process? Well, with IoT smart connected scanning, it's never been easier to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud. The need for PCs, cables, and tedious application software is eliminated. Anyone can set this device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money, valuable time, and the hassle associated with IT. Remote employees can capture documents and send them seamlessly. This technology is adaptable to any environment and uses a hotspot without compromising security. If your goal is to organize documents efficiently and securely, IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT is for you. To see a demo or order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
40 days up to 40 pounds. Say it with me. 40 days up to 40 pounds. That's how much you could lose when you join NJ Diet, because NJ Diet only takes 40 days to lose 20 to 40 plus pounds. Since NJ Diet is a contractually guaranteed money-back program, you have absolutely nothing to worry about. NJ Diet is 100% tailored to you by using bioenergetically personalized supplements based on your hair, saliva, and blood work. Then NJ Diet uses DNA testing to create your ideal diet plan and workout regimen to help you keep it off. 40 days up to 40 pounds can be a real thing. Unlike other weight loss systems, NJ Diet is all natural, no shots, no hormones, no prepackaged foods, and no surgery. With offices in Skokie and Oak Brook, or available worldwide with live online video consultations, call them now, 855-5-NJ-DIET. Or go to njdiet.com. That's njdiet.com. 40 days up to 40 pounds.
This is Sean Morrison of Morrison Security. You know, in the world we're in right now, security has changed. Normal just isn't good enough. It's now critical that your security is excellent in a very complicated world. And hey, that works well for Morrison Security. We have always taken an excellent approach to security. When you think of your security needs, do you have a sense of comfort or a sense of wondering if it's good enough for the new normal? We have been providing excellent security service in practically all areas and for all industries and businesses for decades. Our work is our proof. Quality people and processes, prompt attention to the details that matter